Start the clock.
Good afternoon. At the tone, time will be
Real time.
Welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Roto 50K. Nick Ness back here with you for another week. Primo carnage, especially in the midfield. Lots of low scores going around. We sort of managed to avoid a lot of it. Libba still hurt us, but we finished with 2-1-8-2, which was good enough for top 1% for the round. That's our highest finish for a round this year. So, where was that? So, 2,432 for the round, which is great. We had a shocker last week, if you can remember, sub 2,000, and we dropped 10,000 spots, and we got them all back. So we moved 11,000 spots up to 14,454 total now, which is nice. Made a couple of trades. We've got 20 left. One of them was really good, and the other was pretty dumb, and it's going to end up being a wasted trade, as you'll see in a second. So with that said, let's take a look at the team and go over all the rookies that are going to be on the bubble and who we should be looking to trade in or trade out. So the trades, the good, Fife in, and he banged out a nice 124. It was Constable out for Fife. And the other one, it was the last second trade just before the deadline in the Hawthorn game. I was just worried about Lockie Whitfield. I know GWS doesn't have a great history of releasing medical info, and I was just paranoid. He might miss a couple weeks, and I didn't want to play Lockhart because he's had an average of 40. So last minute before the game started, I put in Sicily for Whitfield, complete sideways trade. I was convinced Sicily's going to go 120 against Melbourne, and Lockhart was going to spud up again. And Sicily spuds up an 80. Doesn't take most of the kickouts for the first time this year, and Lockhart decides to score an 86. So that is a wasted trade, one that we really couldn't afford. Yeah, as I said, we just got to be really careful with trades now, and Lockie Whitfield comes back in a couple of weeks once he drops, hopefully 70,000 plus in price. He's got a 200 break even, and hopefully he doesn't play next week. If he doesn't play next week, I feel a little bit better about my stupid trade. But we'll see what happens. Let's go start with the defenders like we always do. Lloyd, usual solid self. Sicily, as I just said, really unders, disappointing, especially against Melbourne. Actually, Melbourne did a really good job of stopping the Hawthorn switch out of defense. Like the first good thing Goodwin's done all year, and I hurt my score there. Zach Williams, geez, flying at the moment. A 120 last week, a 140 this week. Definitely a keeper. And so is the other mid-price defender at the start of the year, Brodie Smith, a 94. So his average is 93 for the year. And for me, that's good enough for a D6. Marty Hall's been fantastic. He probably becomes the last player you trade, your last rookie upgrade for a primo in defense. And Duzma ticking along nicely. Scrimshaw dropped, and as I said, Lockhart decided to play a blinder, which is good, because he's going to earn a lot of cash for us now, which wasn't looking the case before that. Yeah, and as I said, targets to bring in. If you don't have Lloyd, he's definitely dropping down in price and becoming much more affordable. He's at 586 at the moment, and he has another high break even. Lockie Whitfield in a couple of weeks, be a great choice. For me personally, the way I'm looking to have my finished defense looking, it's probably going to be Lloyd, Sicily, Williams, Smith, Whitfield, and then it's either a Hearn or Ryan from Freo, who's looking great. They're the two that I'd want to eye up, but that'd probably be my last trade to complete my team. The midfielders, complete disappointment all round, not just my team. Lots of underperforming primos, so-called primos. Cripps, 123 out of slow start. You know, he's the top end and he delivers. McRae, 35 touches for 107. Pretty low output to ratio of score there for the amount of touches. But that's fine. He's the elite end. And Nate Fife we brought in this week, who is at that elite end too. He sort of bottomed out last week or this week, so it was the right time to bring him in. He had a break even to 7. He's going to go up in price. Someone that you might want to look to get in this week, definitely. Oliver, who's just sort of underperformed from the $600,000 price point that we brought him in for. Obviously, if we had a time machine, Lockie Neal would be that pick. Brayshaw, 68, again, disappointing. He was my POD at the start of the year. I had such high expectations for him, and he spuds up another score. Crouch, he was on 80 at three-quarter time and finished on 79. He lost 1 point. Racks him up, but just does not score. He doesn't use the ball well at all. And then Liberatore, a 58. I told you guys last week that I really was sus on Bevo and his midfield rotation. And basically this week it was Dunkley in the middle for one of the first times this year, and he banged out a 130. He played great. And Libba was sort of in the forward line, pinch hitting in the midfield, and he pulled a 58. It's pretty shocking, and I wanted to get rid of him last week. I said I'd give him one more week, but he's definitely going this week. He lost a bit of money too. Let's have a quick look. He lost about 25,000. And he's got a massive break even this week. I think it's close to the 140, 150 mark. But I haven't checked, so don't hold me to it. But I think it's around that mark. Scott didn't play, and we were able to loophole Stack, who's been great for 102. If you brought him in, you're sort of laughing price-wise. And the other one is O'Brien. If you didn't bring him in, you're sort of really hurting for cash generation. He's been fantastic for me. We brought him in for Goldstein, and it's worked out a treat. 123 today. Gorn, his usual self. We did the loophole with Gorn, and was happy to take the 127. And 9% of Supercoaches didn't. They went with Dangerfield as captain this week, and if you did, you have to be gutted. 26 points from Paddy Dangerfield. You'd be absolutely gutted. Copped the knock. I watched about half the game at the first half, and I know he copped a knock, and I sort of changed the channel. Really disappointing, especially if you captain him. If you have him, I think everyone who's basically any good at the game has him, so it's not a real big deal. But if you captain him, that's where you lose points. Heaney, disappointing. Longmire just refuses to play him on the ball for a full game, and it hurts his scores. If he was in the guts the whole game, he'd be racking up hundreds every week without an issue. Kelly, great, 120. Marshall, well, he's the one we brought in a couple of weeks ago, and it's just been a nightmare. He sputtered up a 55 against Melbourne and gone. Sick the next week, doesn't play, which means we had to play Petrocelli. I got his name right, Petrocelli. And he put up a 40. So it's been a disgrace, but he comes in, plays the game, scores a 108, and that's fantastic. If he can be a keeper at D6, F6, it'd be fantastic. Drew ticking along nicely, and Baker's been a fantastic pickup that's generating a lot of cash and good on-field scores for a rookie. The bench there, nothing to write home about, except Bolter, a 59. He's finally going to generate some cash, which is good. So let's talk about the players that are going to be on the bubble this week, the rookies. Hately from GWS is a class act. And the question mark is his job security. And if I knew he was going to get a run at least until the buys, he'd be in the team straight away. But the fact that it took Kelly and Whitfield getting dropped for him to get a game really questions whether he can keep his spot in the team. We'll see this week if he's named. If he is named, I'll be really tempted to just flick Libba to him and then also downgrade my backline, Scrimshaw to Ainsworth, who I think is okay. From what I've read, he has okay job security, and Brisbane are looking to get games into him. And I'd really like to get rid of that cash that I have sitting there from Scrimshaw. So if I make those two trades, that basically gives me a sort of war chest of, do quick math, 350, 650. So 650K. So the next week we'll be looking to bring in a Boak. The week after that, Lockie Whitfield. And my team's sort of starting to take shape. There's also another rookie on the bubble from North Melbourne. I'm going to butcher this name. Lipinski? I think I got it right. No, I don't really like it. Don't like him. He scored poorly again today, so I think Haitley and Ainsworth are the ones for me, particularly, and generate some cash, and we can sort of start to finish our team. Hopefully, it'd be done by the buys, and ideally, if I can have 6 trades left, and just pray we don't get injured. But the way I sort of play is all or nothing. We're either winning the 50k or we're not. And if we go out in a flame of glory, that's fine. I'm not really playing for finals or anything like that. You might be a different case. So thanks for watching. That'll do it for this week. Good to hit back after last week's poor performance. As always, hit the like button or the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks.